Footy fans are back. Andrew, Santo, and Joe. Everybody, welcome to the pod. Welcome to the video portion of the pod. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe. If you're watching or if you're listening on podcast platforms, leave a review, leave a 5-star like. Helps us get our name out there. Joe, what do we got to do here?
You already said it. Just hit the
Oh,
bell for
just you guys
notifications
say it
too.
again. It's always good to say it twice, just to
Like,
remind the
subscribe,
people.
hit the bell for notifications.
Boom, there we go. So we spoke to you guys last on Tuesday. I think the podcast dropped midday on Wednesday. So we kind of previewed the games coming up midweek, and there were some spicy ones. I think the one that we looked most forward to was probably the Tottenham Southampton game, just because it's Tottenham's kind of mid-table now, which is surprising to say for Tottenham. Southampton has had a good run of form the last couple of weeks, and that was a shocker of a game. Like that was entertaining as hell.
Yeah. Well, obviously, tons of action with all the goals.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they lost, I got to say, it's good to see Kane really get back into it. I mean, he didn't play amazing, but he was, creating chances. Did miss that header from pretty close range that just bounced over. But
Yeah.
I do just like to see that he's like really playing hard and playing decently well. But yeah, it was a juicy one, like tons happening. Bergwijn came in late. I'm like, oh, is he just going to get 2 goals again in the last 3 minutes and win it for Tottenham? But that evidently didn't happen. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wonder if it's yeah, it just goes to show like Conte what he can do, get players' mindset right. I know he's like, who was it? I forget. Someone on Tottenham said like their training sessions are like death or what have you.
Yeah.
So yeah, good on Conte. Starting to get more out of Kane. But they still have work to do. They're sitting in 8th right now. Have a little bit of work to get back into the Champions League mix. I do know they have 2 games on Man U, so they aren't like they're not in the worst spot ever. But especially with Man U dropping some points, it'll be juicy come the end of the season.
Yeah, so we did recap the Man U game because it actually took place just a few hours before we recorded the last episode. So if you want to listen to what we had to talk about that one, go back to the previous episode on your platform. But yeah, 3-2 victory for Southampton over Tottenham. A couple late goals for the Saints there to kind of wrap it up. Elyounoussi tying in the 80th, and then Che Adams scoring the 82nd. Tucked it away nicely there against Lloris to secure the win for Southampton. Like we said, they're kind of just like a mid-level team that just always comes up to the big games against the big clubs. Like we said before, against Liverpool and Man City, they always kind of seem to show up and put in a strong effort.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's just funny to see because like they're such a mid-level team and they can just still show up whenever they have to and perform. And I know we'll get into it later on today, but with Spurs dropping this game against Southampton the way that they did, late result, and then getting another crushing defeat today at the hand of Wolves, I mean, they're kind of just like not really identifying themselves as like a European championship club.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just hard to see because there is such top end talent with Tottenham, but then there's the disconnect between the other players. It's a big gap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have your 3 or 4 guys at the top. Would they be attacking players like Kane or Son or Lucas Moura? And then you have your defenders there that are kind of like just really spread out apart, like just in the depth, where it's like you can have all the attack that you want, but then if you can't defend and you can't let goals, not get scored on you, then you're not a good team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's kind of like what we were talking about with Man United at the start of the season. And then since Rangnick has came in, he obviously has kind of tightened it up back there. And I think Spurs are kind of looking at the same thing when they brought Antonio Conte in because he's such a perfectionist. And like Joe alluded to, he's just like crazy with drills and with training sessions. I remember back at Chelsea, a lot of players are complaining too, saying how like they've put in their dues to get to the level that they're at. They don't want to be running these 2-a-day, training sessions and wind sprints and all that kind of stuff. But I think Antonio Conte's like culture and his mindset is if we don't have the best team, we're going to have the fittest team, or we're going to have the most physical team that can last 90 minutes plus. And that's kind of what you have to do if you don't have the top end talent that, can garner big games and big victories for you. So, I mean, in that game against Southampton, again, just a late game collapse. I'll talk a little bit later on today against the Wolves match, but yeah, I know Santos said like Kane, it's good to see him back, but if you're not scoring, you're not back.
Yeah,
In my eyes,
you're
You
not
have
you're
to-
not fully back.
No.
It's just good to see him not be, I guess, more so a liability.
yeah,
Where I think he was a little bit when we were having that whole Man City fiasco with Tottenham. But yeah, I mean, Southampton's always been a really tough team to play against when you're a top side. You know, they've always been historically. It's always the Saint Stadium, whatever it's called. I can't. I'm blanking.
St. Mary's.
Yeah, St. Mary's. It's always been a tough place to go to, and I remember once when Arsenal were going away to the Saints, and it was probably the only pro line ticket I've ever played, and I called a draw on that, and they did draw, and it was the only time I've won anything. But yeah, it's always been like that. So it's curious how they can always play good against the top teams, but then struggle against everyone else. And it's curious how good they would be if they were that consistent, how high in the table they would climb.
Yeah.
So the other midweek games that took place, kind of the usual suspects came away with victories. Man City beating Brentford 2-0. Liverpool, a tough match against Leicester. They always play hard against each other, but another 2-0 victory for Liverpool there. Just another game to touch on, like, real quick, was the Villa and Leeds match. Just one of the games of the season, I think. If you like goals and if you like sloppy play sometimes and not the most defensive structured game, then you should tune into the highlights of this one. 3-3 draw between Villa and Leeds. It's at Villa Park, so the crowd is rocking there. Especially the way they kind of finished off with Konza scoring just to tie the game up late. I mean, again, two mid-table teams battling it out. Always good to see. The guys that Gerrard brought in. I mean, I think they've shown up so far in the Coutinho and Luca Digne. I think they've done what they've shown that they can do so far for Villa. We talked about having like top 10 aspirations for them with the new signings. If we'll get there, I don't know, but I mean, Gerrard came in there when they were a sinking ship, and it was basically like, okay, you just kind of maybe stay afloat, don't get relegated, don't get close to the bottom three. And with him only being there for a couple of months, he clearly like stated his claim as like, I'm the manager for this club. Like I can bring these guys to more than just being a mid-level team or staying safe. So good future to come, I think, from Aston Villa. Again, he's only been there for a few months. So like, how much can you really show? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have the full potential of the squad yet. Clearly, he did have the one transfer break, which they made huge impacts. But I think with a full off season and just more time on his hands, he can put Villa into the top 10, I think.
Yeah, I would agree, and especially if they can keep Coutinho there. I mean, just his performance was next level in that game. I mean, just the through ball and the other assist he got. You don't see that. I haven't seen that on Villa since the days of like Gareth Barry. Way back when. The days of Gareth Barry, Ball Lahore, Ashley Young, James Milner. That
man.
Yeah,
man, that's some nostalgia names.
Oh yeah.
And Milner's still kicking, which is hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Went from Villa, City, now Liverpool. Just going.
Well, Young is back there, which is funny. Just career come full circle, right?
Yeah. We had a stint he was in Italy with Inter, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. When Inter was just taking everyone that was on Man U.
They just took all Man U's players that didn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Alexis Sanchez and Lukaku. Actually, Young. I mean, when Young went there, he was like, he still is like old.
Yeah.
Like to be playing still.
Yeah.
But making that return to Villa is pretty cool for him.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, super cool. But yeah, I mean, just you can tell just the level Coutinho's on compared to everyone else. He was just doing magic every time he got the ball. I mean, not every time he got the ball, but just consistently all throughout the game. It was cool. So we'll see what Gerrard can get out of the rest of the team while he's there. And I don't think they'll have issues getting top 10 if they can just keep this up and just maybe shore up a few positions.
I had a point. What was I going to say? I think you said it all.
Yeah.
Wolves and Arsenal. We talked about this one a little bit in the preview. Just being a good, entertaining match. Two top 6 teams at the time. They're both top 6. Arsenal pulling away with the 1-0 victory. Put them to 6th and drop Wolves to 7th place. Arsenal just 1 point behind Man U with 2 games in hand to play. And they also have 2 games in hand to play against Villa. Also just 1 point ahead. So, Arsenal, out of those 3, look most keen to like solidify their spot in Europe, whether it be 4th or 5th in Europa League or Champions League. It's been a tournament that's eluded Arsenal for a couple seasons now, so it's always good to get them back in there, not playing just domestic, but also playing in the intercontinental tournaments and everything. I didn't watch this game. Work was calling, and I wasn't able to watch the highlights, so I'm gonna let the boys take it away on this one and tell me what happened, because I don't know.
Yeah. So, well, I just want to touch that. I do think for me, Arsenal is going to be the team that finishes top 4. Obviously, as long as they maintain their form, but just with how they've been playing and seeing Man U just consistently drop points, I think they'll catch Man U and West Ham. But yeah, we had a really juicy, unique situation happen in this game with Martinelli's red card. So for everyone that didn't watch the highlights or know what happened, just standard run of play going. The ball goes out for a throw in for Wolves, and Martinelli was kind of right there on the sidelines. Wolves player goes to throw it in, and Martinelli doesn't really push the guy as he's going to throw it in, but he kind of like puts his hands on him, like on his chest or like upper body, and it I guess looked like a really light push. But the guy threw it in, and the ref gave advantage. It was Michael Oliver. And Martinelli goes and chases after the guy with advantage being played, and goes and pushes him in the back. But it was like forearm push in the back, when you see just that. So it goes over. Michael Oliver comes over, takes out the yellow. And Michael Oliver was like pretty fired up about this situation. Goes and runs over and was like doing something weird with the card. I think he was making it really clear that Martinelli was getting a yellow for the push and also a yellow for, the push on the throw and then the push from the back on the advantage play.
Okay.
So Mike Oliver gave him 2 yellows right there, ending up in a red, and then Martinelli is off the field.
Why don't just go straight red?
Because it wasn't.
You got 2 yellows.
Is those 2 offenses?
I think 2 yellows and a straight red are like different offenses. Like you get suspended for a different amount of time, I think.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, very strange. I don't agree with it. I mean, I don't even think they would be both of them are harsh yellows. And I think I guess I want to get your 2 cents.
Well, I mean, it's just a bonehead sounding play. Why are you doing that? It's just it's so hard because so many facets of the game or so many parts of the game are like just so stupid. Like the whole you get injured, you roll on the ground, you take up more time. You're in the 90th minute and there's 3 minutes added on, and then your team makes 2 substitutions. Like the referee stopping the time, like it's just like games, right? It's just mind games, and like it doesn't actually do anything. Stuff like this, it's just he's being a goof. Like they already had the lead at this point, right? Yeah, goal scored in the 25th, and the red card happened in the 69th minute. Yeah. So at this point in the game, you're already leading. It looks like Wolves. I'm just looking at the stats here from the match. It looks like Wolves was dominating most of the play, especially the run of play with possession being 59-41. So I don't know if maybe he was trying to do it at a strategic time to slow down the pace of play or something, and like maybe that's why like the first yellow card was coming out. The ball goes over throw in, you kind of dick around with the ball a little bit, don't give it back to the guy right away, just playing games. If he was doing that, then like okay, maybe a warning would have been okay. But to get 2 yellow cards issued at the same time for 2 like childish offenses, these are grown ass men playing this game. Like, if it was like little kids or something, then like the guy's just pissing the referee off, then I get it. Maybe give him a yellow card. He might go home crying or something, and then he won't do it ever again. These are professional footballers. Like, why are you treating them in like managing the game as if they were like little kids. I don't get that. I think that's stupid. I think red card worthy is ridiculous because, as we've seen before with VAR and how they can't get involved in some fouls, there's been a lot of other things that have been not called red cards that we've seen so far this season that we wish were red cards.
Yeah.
And for this to be issued something like a red card, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it. I'm going off your guys' interpretation. Like, it could be even worse or better than what you're saying.
My whole 2 cents was like you said, I don't know why the ref would, you have to be aware of the situation. Like, I'm not sure what's going through Michael Oliver's head. Like, as a ref, I probably would just gave him a yellow and gave him a talking to. Clearly, you're getting a little wound up, to subsequent fouls like that. Because I think the whole spirit of the yellow card is you're getting aggressive during the game, and you're given a warning to try and tone it down. I think the idea of giving it you did 2 fouls in the same play and they're both worthy of a yellow, so I'm going to give you 2 yellows and give you a red, I think the appropriate thing would be give him a yellow, give him a talking to so he cools his head, so that, because the idea is you're trying to protect the players with those situations. And I don't think Martinelli was particularly endangering anyone on the Wolves team with the way he was playing. So I don't think kicking him off the field was a fair thing to do based on the whole idea of keeping everyone on the pitch safe. So, giving him a yellow so that he cools his head and so, it doesn't totally interrupt the play of the game, so that he knows I have to calm down. I'm on a yellow now. I can't do anything crazy. I think that would have been totally fine, especially considering the 2 fouls weren't necessarily, they were what was it? Petty, which I would assume, yellow's fine. You're getting a little childish.
Give a yellow for both offenses, just 1 yellow.
Yeah. And that's from what I've understood, the ref has to try and make it really clear that if he's giving advantage and going to give a yellow, he has to try and tell the player that he is going to get booked. So I'm not sure if Martinelli knew he was on a yellow, because I would probably assume Martinelli doesn't make that second foul if he knows he's on a yellow. So it might have not been totally clear that Michael Oliver was going to give him a yellow, and Michael Oliver didn't make it clear to him. So I can only speak from my perspective. If I was Martinelli in that situation and that happened to me, I would have been absolutely livid.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll file a protest or something, which won't go through, but
yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's I don't, you have to tell me if I'm on a yellow, so I know what I can or can't do, because if I have to make a professional foul, I'm not going to make it if I'm on a yellow, right?
How quick was it? How from the throw in to the second offense?
5 seconds, 7 seconds, 5 seconds.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying. There's not enough time though to even issue that, and
maybe 15, but not long.
Was the play blown dead from the throw in, or was
the ball went out for a throw in? The guy went and quickly took it.
Yeah, so that happened. So the second foul he committed, was that during the run of play, or is there did he blow the whistle and then that happened?
No, it was during the run of play. So the guy threw it in, and Martinelli kind of not even pushed the guy, but put his hands kind of in his face.
Okay.
And the guy fell over really soft.
And then he did the other foul.
And then Michael Oliver was going to call it, but saw the advantage, so gave the advantage. So Martinelli ran and pushed the guy from the back.
Probably looks hilarious. I got to find the clip of it or something.
Yeah, I mean,
just to get more of a grasp.
Yeah, one of those things. I mean, we don't gotta live here, but it's one of those things. A really harsh red kind of could have really ruined the game if it was in a really big game in a big heated moment. Can you imagine if that happened in Champions League in the final?
Yeah,
would have been.
Well, you would think
fireworks.
in the Champions League final, whichever clubs are there are mature clubs, and which Arsenal I don't think is there yet. I can't see a Man City and a Bayern Munich doing that or something mid-game, getting too overheated.
Yeah.
Martinelli's a young kid. He's been playing well for Arsenal the last couple of seasons and really making his breakthrough now with their recent run of form and how they've progressed to the top 4, top 5, top 6. But yeah, just kid being a kid, I guess, and just trying to do a little too much for his team. 20 minutes left to go in the game still.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like it was last couple of minutes of the match. You put your team behind with 20 minutes to go against a team already pressing and already down 1-0. I mean, that's kind of a tough spot to put your team into.
Yeah.
The reason why I asked if the play was dead was because I remember watching. This had to be either Euro 2008 or World Cup 2010. I can't remember. And a through ball was played over top of the defender, and I think it was Spain. It was a match of Spain and Portugal. Do you remember this game? No, it was Portugal and Netherlands or something.
Yeah.
And it was like crazy game. It was like 2 red cards and like
there was like 4 red cards. I thought.
Yeah, it was
I
nuts.
think each team got 2.
It was nuts. Yeah,
and there was like 8 yellows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this match.
Yeah.
A ball was played over top, and I can't remember the players, can't remember the teams, exactly what happened. But the attacker tried to stick his leg out and control the ball like with his foot up like this high, and he hit the defender right in the chest.
Yeah.
Like spiked to the chest, knocked him down, like just a complete red card offense. But the play was blown dead because it was offside. So you can't give the foul because the play was dead at the time. Like ridiculous foul.
Yeah.
Like almost decapitated the guy.
I remember
But because
that.
it was called offside, the referee can't issue a yellow card or red card. What's your guys' take on that?
I probably.
I'm sorry. I don't know if they have changed the rules since then. If they can issue cards after the run of play is done, like if the play is blown dead, if it can go back if something happens, because we've seen it before, like when a whistle gets blown and there's like fisticuffs afterwards where they're headbutting each other or something stupid like that. But if there's a foul involved in the run of the game after the whistle's blown, I don't know if you can be carded for it.
Yeah,
which is weird. But like, which is weird because if you fought, like if people started fighting, you could.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
different
different
offenses though.
Yeah,
that's probably where I sit. Where in that situation, the attacker was clearly trying to play the ball, even though it was like really poor and probably out of control. He was trying to play the ball and play according to the run of play, even though he was doing it poorly. Whereas if the ref blew the whistle and, like Joe said, a fight broke out, then the players are acting knowingly after the play. So the players are taking action when they know the play is dead, whereas this guy was still playing as if he thought the play was still going on. So I think it depends on like how are the players acting in terms of, do they know the play is dead or do they not know it's dead?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's probably where I would sit.
Yeah, the offside call wasn't made until after the foul took place, but it was still, I don't know. I just remember to this day, I'm like, how is that not a card? Like he just almost killed the guy, but just because he's offside, like he saved himself basically because he was offside and he committed the foul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know. This was me being younger and just losing my lid. I'm like, how is this even possible right now?
Yeah. How is no card being issued here?
So that wrapped up the midweek games. I think some of these were makeup matches. I don't know if it was actual official match day games. I think some of them might have been makeup matches, like the earlier game between Burnley and Watford on that Saturday was a makeup game. So that ended up being the final result for the Thursday match, 1-0 Arsenal and versus Wolves. Skip ahead a couple days. Chelsea and Arsenal were supposed to play this weekend. Chelsea was off in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, one of the two. Haven't decided which one it was yet. Playing in the, what's it called, Joe?
Club World Cup.
The Club World Cup. I think it's a ridiculous tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Even like being a Chelsea supporter and like, yeah, we won a trophy again. Like, great. This does not have to be a mid-season tournament in my eyes. It's just another, example or another way that top clubs, whatever league you're playing in, has more, international duty or more like non-season like games to play, just more fatigue, more travel. If this was still in the heart of COVID and pandemic restrictions, they would have had to quarantine probably. I think it's just a whole bunch of nonsense to be able to play these matches. The fact that the final was held in Abu Dhabi kind of shows like why they have this tournament, I think, and they've had it for the last couple decades. I think they started in like the late 90s or early 2000s. I guess like the gist of this tournament is that every domestic champion from the previous season, which makes no sense because Chelsea didn't win the champion. They won Champions League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. So like
Each
they
continental.
won Champions League, and then the winner of the North American Champions League.
Oh, okay. So I
And
thought
then
it
the
was like
South
domestic,
American-
like your season.
No, it's like your continental club championship. So like UEFA Champions League, and then like CONCACAF Champions League.
Okay,
and,
like
yeah.
African,
Yeah.
but won the African Cup for
As far as I
club,
know.
whatever. Okay, that makes more sense. But still, you have Chelsea playing against Palmeiras from Brazil. They played the African champion earlier. I think it was a team from I don't know. I think Saudi Arabia or something. Is it necessary? I don't think so. If they want to hold this tournament, go ahead. But like the fact that Chelsea is the 9th European club in a row to win this this tournament, just kind of goes to show like how much better these clubs are than anybody else, and how it's not really that significant to hold this kind of tournament. Does it get more publicity? Does it get more fans involved? Does it generate more money? Of course it does. I just don't think it's necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's a tournament with what, 8 teams?
Something like that, yeah. Maybe even
Yeah.
I think about 8, yeah.
8. Yeah, and right in the middle of Chelsea's season. It's more of an interference. I mean,
Yeah.
no one. I don't want to say no one really cares, but
I didn't care.
It's you even being a Chelsea fan, it's probably as low as it gets on your priority list of what Chelsea needs to win to have a successful season.
Mm-hmm.
So we've said it again, if you're a top player on a top team, you're playing 45 plus weekends or weeks out of the year and traveling all over the place. I forget where Son traveled a ridiculous amount of kilometers over the entire world, going from Korea back to England, playing in different competitions.
Mm-hmm.
Takes a toll on you. So
yeah, for sure.
and
yeah.
I mean, I'm actually looking at the bracket. I think it's a turn this year. It was from February 3rd to 11th. I think like all the games are between then, and they're all in like the one location. So you go, it's like what is it, like grade school where we all go to the Lasore
Day of Champions.
Yeah, kind of the same thing, but they all play on like more than like obviously over a course of a few days or several days. Yeah, very strange.
You set up the tents with your team, get all the watermelon and oranges out.
I mean, it's probably not. It's probably kind of fun. I guess it kind of sucks. It's in like the middle of the season, like you said, because they got other more important stuff going on. But
yeah, it's a different it's a different experience. But I mean, make this a preseason tournament or something then.
Yeah, I can't
make this a kickoff, like because they already do those in the preseason anyways, where they go on tours.
Yeah.
You'll have the likes of Real Madrid and Manchester United, PSG going on a tour to, the US or Asia for sure. They go to Asia all the time. Make this like a preseason tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Have it in Abu Dhabi, have it in Dubai, Qatar, wherever you want to have it, where you can generate a lot of money, a lot of buzz, and then just host it over like 10 days or something, or 2 weeks, where it's not as significant, where guys can rest up. You can play players like Billy Gilmore for Chelsea instead of playing Kai Havertz.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a better situation than this, because even though we're poking fun of it, and like it was obviously a trophy. I mean, Chelsea was playing Mason Mount and Pulisic, and Lukaku was playing. Pulisic just coming off international break with the United States, so he traveled from London to the US, wherever he went to, New York, or I think they had a game in Wisconsin or Minnesota. So like London to New York to Minnesota. Maybe he saw his family for a little bit in Pennsylvania, fly back to London, go to Abu Dhabi, and then like travel back again. Like that's just crazy travel for a 2-week gap.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's just,
and
it's
like
not needed.
Like you said, I don't want to say it's a money grab. Like I'm sure. I don't know what the intent is behind this tournament. It's
the
just
host was
crazy.
a Saudi prince, I think.
Yeah, I mean they probably just do it because they can. Which and
It was like Abramovich and a Saudi prince in a press box together.
yeah, I do see a lot of players come out and say like we play like a lot of games. I know Gundogan a little while ago said like there's no consideration. Even Courtois, there's no consideration for like player health. Like they played I don't even know how many games.
Yeah,
And this is nuts. They have a like they have a third place game, which is one like Champions League doesn't even have that, which is nuts. They also have a fifth place game. So
an actual game or just
no
like a result.
So the teams go to the semifinal.
Yeah.
After the so they have a first round where two teams face off. Like I think it's probably based on seed because I think it's a Middle Eastern club, and I'm not sure where AS Pire is from. But they play. The winner of that goes to the second round, and then the winner of the second round goes to the semifinal. And it looks like the European team and the South American team have a bye, but the losers from the second round go to a fifth place game.
That's why it's a money grab.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What do you have fifth?
Yeah,
you
In
won
in
fifth.
any other tournament, you lose,
you won
and then you just
fifth.
go home.
I think-
this is for money.
Fifth place game, and I think there's 8. How many teams are there? 8 teams.
If there's a bye, it
Fifth.
might be 6 teams.
Fifth.
Yeah,
place
I
game.
guess it's 6, right?
That is crazy.
That's crazy. That's like we should do like what we did with the Polona tournament. Get all drunk before the game, and then if you lose, and you go to the semifinal game or you go to the third place game, you just say whoever has enough guys to fit the field can just get the result.
Yeah.
I think that happened for us once.
Like, why does it matter?
I mean,
Even if you
in
finish third, what does it matter?
In retrospect, granted, some of these other clubs, like for Paul Moraes and Chelsea, I know they're probably obviously Chelsea's sitting pretty good financially. Maybe for some of these other clubs,
I get that.
they're for it because we
Yeah.
can go to this tournament, play a ton of games, and we have like all these sponsors like Adidas, Coca-Cola, so it's probably good for them. But so it's one of those things where it's like, the big clubs go, but like the small clubs are the one that's really benefit financially. I know that's the case with the FA Cup because I know a lot of people say it's like, what's the point of the FA Cup? Like they play all these games, got to go to like wherever, but like that's really big for like, let's say like Wrexham for Ryan Reynolds. That they, I don't even know if are they an English team like 4th division?
Yeah, they play in the same league as our boys. Oh God, what was that team? Bournemouth Gull. What the other team was?
Yeah. I mean, if they had like City go to Wrexham, it'd be like a massive financial boost for them.
Boreham Wood and Wrexham play in the same league.
Yeah.
Talked about them last episode. If you guys want to talk about or listen to us talk about FA Cup and Boreham Wood and their efforts to progress in the FA Cup, tune back into that one. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah, for those smaller clubs, of course, I keep saying it's a cash grab. It's a cash grab all around for the bigger clubs, for the smaller clubs. Obviously, it would help a side, like a CONCACAF Champions League winner. Like it would help them.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool that like Toronto FC is eligible to be in that.
I know they were almost in it a little while ago.
They played Tigres, I think, from Mexico in the semifinal. I believe. I think they lost. Well, they obviously did lose that.
No, it was the final.
It was the final they lost.
The final, but the final was 2 legs, which was super weird.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
Anyway, that's the Club World Cup.
Yeah, so because of the Club World Cup, the Chelsea-Arsenal match that was supposed to be played yesterday on Saturday was postponed till a later date, and that's another thing too. Just in the world of this season, like you don't need to be postponing more games.
Mm-hmm.
Like this should just not be a mid-season tournament.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to have it, go ahead, have it. Make it a preseason tournament when you can, rest some players and not have to worry about rescheduling important matches like the London Derby, Chelsea and Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
We spoke about Southampton earlier, coming off their big win against Tottenham midweek. They had a draw yesterday against Man United. Final there was 1-1. I didn't have much notes from this one. I think just a lack of finishing for the both clubs kind of hurt the game because this could have swung 3-2 probably in either one's direction if Rashford was able to convert or Che Adams had some more chances that he could have converted on. Broja was another player for Southampton. Actually, he's pretty good. I think he's a Chelsea player and he's on loan, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I should know that. But yeah, he's an Albanian player. He's on loan to Southampton from Chelsea. So yeah, he's played pretty well. I mean, I haven't watched him play that much, but whenever I do see a Southampton game, he seems to always kind of be involved in some sort of the play. But yeah, this is kind of more obviously a detrimental result for United than Southampton. Just from where they're at in the standings and how they should be performing. Their run of form is looking like Chelsea's run of form, which is something that nobody wants to have right now. With just more draws and victories coming in the last few matches for them, when all your other main rivals and competitors are pulling off wins, minus what West Ham has done the last couple of weeks. But everybody above them is pulling out more results in the positive, and United is just getting draws left and right.
Yeah, I do think Ragnick's done a decent job so far. I do really hope that it doesn't turn into a situation where his job's in question just because they're not getting the most convincing results. I do hope he just gets a little more time, because I do think they're playing better. The results aren't quite coming, so I just think he needs more time. Because if he gets let go, it's just we're gonna get into back of the regular cycle we see with Man U. Even though these results are definitely not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, I keep going back. I think me and one of our friends at work talked about it. Until there's a change at the very top, I don't think you're going to see Man U get back to the glory days, to be honest. Unless you get a manager that's really, really, really good and is willing to put up with some of the shenanigans that goes on. Because let's be honest, like, you spent how much money on Van de Beek and he doesn't play? And like, I don't know if that was the manager that wanted him or it was like the club just, pressure from the fans. Let's make the fans happy. Let's go get this guy. Like, I don't know what's going on. You have like all these, you're not really filling the holes that you need. Like, we keep saying, like, no disrespect to Fred and McTominay, but you spent all this money on like Sancho and Van de Beek and like all these guys, but you're not even filling the holes. That's like the crutch of what's going on with your team right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how like things are being run, but until there's like a big makeup shift where you transition from like, we're Man U and, you know, our main priority, like I think Santos said before, how it's like, it seems like they're more like a conglomerate that's like trying to make money versus like a club that wants to win. So, I mean, it just speaks volumes that like they're not going out. It's like, we have to fill our holes in the midfield instead of like going after the next big shiny signing, which, you know, it's a little unfortunate, but until there's that shift, I don't think we're ever really going to see a change, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Footy fans' biggest fan.
Hi, Lena.
Hey, Lena.
I'll say hi. Wait.
Hi.
Say hi.
Hello.
Say hi.
Did you have a good time at Grandma and Grandpa's house?
Did you have fun at Nana's house? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Mommy and Daddy just took a little vacation.
What did I do at Nana's?
What did you do at Nana's house? Did you make Jell-O?
No.
No? I thought you did.
Having candy.
You had candy?
At a store.
Oh, you got candy at the store?
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Candy at the store.
Candy at the store.
Okay, go upstairs, okay? Say bye, guys.
Bye, Lena.
Bye. I like your orange bow tie.
Say bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Run along. Run along. I know.
Cindy Lou Who to a T.
Yeah, I know. Well, she was Cindy Lou. I showed you guys the picture. She was Cindy Lou last year for Halloween.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I heard the end of that take you just had, but I think just with the case of United too, they obviously have like one of the more outspoken fan bases around. And when you have, you know, people on Twitter that obviously just put their team on blast sometimes and they say like, I can't watch this team. It's the same mistakes over and over again. Shout out Rory Aikman. Roars on Twitter. I always see him posting about United and how it's the same issues, same problems, and they just don't fix them. It's difficult for me to like look at a side like United, who obviously has these glaring holes, most of them being defensively. And Rangnick has been in there and done a good job, like we said, kind of just like solidifying the back there more just with his tactics, because they haven't made any transfers that of any note, really.
Mhm.
And we were talking about in the transfer season that they have to pick up a center midfielder or a defensive midfielder, maybe another center back or something. And they just did nothing in January. So when you have a fan base as passionate and as outspoken as United, and they're demanding change and they're demanding results all the time, and then you sit back and do nothing to shake up the team except for letting a player like Van de Beek go on loan to Everton,
I know.
which is like just the most confusing thing, because all the fans want is for him to get a chance to play because they think he can perform.
Yeah.
And he's the kind of guy who, next to McTominay, could really do a good job, I think, for this club. And then you let that one guy go, which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't fit in Van de Beek's or in Rangnick's system. It could be like a whole Moneyball kind of thing where Rangnick has his guys and he wants them to play all the time.
Mhm.
And they're getting
Yeah.
pressure from the fan base, pressure from ownership to say, we want Donnie to play, and then he ships them out to Everton. Like, you can't play Donnie now because he's gone.
Yeah.
That's the question.
Donnie's not playing first base now because he's not here.
Yeah.
Is Chris Pratt, McTominay, or Fred, and Van de Beek is Pena?
Yeah, that's
And then
exactly what it is.
Brad Pitt just goes
No,
into the
I think-
room and says,
I think-
"Oh,
Pena's the guy that brought him. Wasn't it Jeremy? He was the guy's little brother. I forget.
Jeremy Giambi. He actually just passed away this past weekend.
Oh man, that's
Jeremy Giambi.
sad.
Jason
Oh,
John.
sorry.
Jeremy. Jason? God, I'm so bad.
Yeah.
Jason is who they
Could-
brought in, I think.
Oh, I forget.
because Chris Pratt was the catcher who couldn't throw,
Yeah.
so he had to play
Yeah.
first base.
And then they had the all-star.
Pena.
No, he.
Jeremy
Wait,
Giambi just
here's
passed
what
away
Here's what happened in
a couple
Moneyball.
of days ago.
Who's that?
Said Jeremy Giambi just passed away a couple of days ago.
Was he? I know because there was the really really good one. Jason or Jeremy?
Jason was the good one. Jason was from the Yankees. Like he was.
So he was really good, and he was
Yeah.
on the A's, and then he sold them to they sold him, I think, to New
He
York.
left to the Yankees. Yeah.
And then they brought in his younger brother, who
Mhm.
had the attitude issue.
Yeah.
And so he let him go. He's like, Jeremy. Remember, he told the coach, he's like, because the coach kept playing Jeremy. And
Yeah.
he's like, Jeremy's gone too, so you have to play Chris Pratt at first base now. I
Yeah.
think it was.
Yeah.
And then, but Pena was the guy they originally wanted, and they couldn't get him, but they got him later because he was not doing too well. Or no, wait.
No,
Was that
they got
him?
Rincon later.
Oh, yeah, it was
Yeah.
Rincon.
Yeah.
I just watched this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
So it's kind of
Rincon.
fresh.
Yeah, they kept playing Pena.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sold
think-
Pena to Detroit.
Yeah, I think they
That's
got
what
rid
it
of Pena. Yeah, they got rid of Pena to Detroit because he wanted Chris Pratt, aka
Yeah.
what was his name in the movie? Scott Hatterberg.
Yeah.
Oh, Hatterberg.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pena was
He
playing
wanted
first.
him to play first, and Pena was there. And then
Yeah.
Jeremy I think they just got rid of. Sorry, they got rid of. Yeah, Jeremy just because of his attitude. I don't think
Yeah.
he liked him because remember he was celebrating the locker room after a loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he was
That's what
saying how
happened.
he hates losing more than he likes winning.
Yeah.
Santos
As
was right, and I was
that
wrong.
famous
this time.
quote. Oh,
Santos was right about a movie this time.
Joe
That's
coming
what-
in.
yeah.
Record it. What's it? 11:52 on February 13th, 2022.
The power of video. We can always save that. Play that at your guys' next birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Van de Beek was Pena.
Yep.
Yeah.
And McTominay was is
Scott Hatterberg.
Scott Hatterberg.
But
Maybe.
Hatterberg's playing. But McTominay's playing though. That's the thing.
Yeah. It could
I
also
don't
be the other way around.
It could be the other way
Yeah, it
around.
could actually be the other way around. I think Van de Beek was actually Hatterberg and McTominay was Pena.
Yeah, where they're
But-
just like, sorry, Scott, you got to
Yeah,
go.
but then they just got rid of Hatterberg. That's probably what it actually is.
So they're not doing the system. Rangnick has
Yeah.
his way of doing it because like he obviously wasn't there when Van de Beek was brought in.
Mhm.
He was. I don't even know if he was managing at that time, but he's obviously back in Germany. And yeah, maybe he saw something in training he didn't like from Van de Beek. I mean, if I was Van de Beek, I'd be giving an attitude problem too because you're there to play.
yeah.
And like, he's in the peak of his career. He's like 24 years old, I think.
Yeah.
He's been there for a couple seasons now at United, and he hasn't been able to crack the starting 11 or even be the first guy off the bench as a substitute, which is just obviously frustrating.
I mean, especially with a player like, and we won't live here like Santos says, but the last thing on that, and I think that's what separates really, really great managers like Guardiola from, maybe even Ragnarik or Ole. Like, you bring in this signing, like, I don't even know how much it costs, like probably upwards over 60 million. I forget what it was. But could you imagine what that would do to your confidence if you just get bought and now you're on the bench all the time and you're like, what am I doing? I made this high profile move. I'm not even getting a chance. Like, what am I doing? It's going to like kill your confidence.
Yep.
And the amount of players like Mahrez, even Grealish, I know Grealish isn't doing too well, but he's still getting in the side, like keeps getting a chance. And like, he's not playing bad. He's just not like at City's level, like banging in goals like everyone else. So there's that. Like, even Bernardo, when he first went, he wasn't really getting in the side. Now he's like the best player in the Premier League. Cancelo everyone was giving him because he wasn't doing too well. And now he's like the best left back in the world. So could you imagine if it was other managers? I feel like those kind of signings would go either not get the chance because they're not doing too well in training, or see how they're doing at the start. It's like, oh, they're like flopping. We got to like find someone else. Like, arguably Bernardo, Cancelo, and Mahrez, when they first went there, were on the cusp of like turning into flops because they weren't getting in the side and they weren't playing well. And now like Mahrez is like the best, arguably their best winger. Bernardo's like the best player in the Premier League, and Cancelo's one of the best left backs. So I think you really, if you want to be a big club, you have to look at that player development and really understand, the situation that you're in, because it's really way more about player management than just like, whatever is going on at these other clubs. And I think that's what they do really well. So really, Man U has to find someone that can manage that kind of personality. Because, like, think you have Pogba in your side, and he's, and you're not getting the best out of Paul Pogba. That's probably a big problem you got to look at.
Yeah, and his issue has been more off the field, I think, than on. Because when he plays, he's not world class anymore. I wouldn't put him in that category. But when he was a key part of that France 2018 World Cup winning side, like he was arguably like top 5 midfielder in the world. Like, he couldn't be stopped. He was like, everything he touched turned to gold, and he was playing amazing for them. And then since that, I don't know if it got too big for him or if he got too big for the spotlight since that moment. And obviously his clashes that he had with Jose Mourinho when he was at the helm kind of showed a decline in his play and his attitude a little bit. But again, I think Rangnick was brought in not to win trophies, not to be the guy that's gonna like save Man United and turn them back into the glory days. I think he was brought in there as a player manager, and maybe there to control more of the personality troubles that United had. And just like you said before, in like way earlier podcast when he first got appointed, he's a tactician. He's instrumental in the gegenpressing style, and he kind of like was the one that created that style of play that's really popular now with many different clubs. So I think his goal at United was just bring them back to basics and just stop making them do costly mistakes that really can swing the game in either direction for them. And we went through the stat line that they've had a couple of weeks ago, saying how in their last couple of results have been like 1-0 victories or 2-1, like closer games. Whereas earlier in the season, they were playing games to 4-1 or 3-2 with like a loss and giving up this crazy amount of goals. I don't have the stat in front of me right now, but just to see the goal differential from when he was before he was there to now, since the time he has been there, it'd be substantial. And the goals for, goals against ratio.
Yeah.
Real quick for Van de Beek, he was bought from Ajax for £39.6 million.
Yeah.
So just shy of £40 million. And his deal to Everton, although to transfer, looks like the fee would be 22.5. So they're losing half the money they made almost.
Yeah.
Half the money they spent, sorry. And like in the world of United, that doesn't mean anything to them.
Yeah.
When you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation or conglomerate, like we were saying, an 18 million pound loss, it really isn't that much to them, I don't think. God, they bought Sancho for like 90 million.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's insane. Last game from yesterday we'll talk about real quick. Just Everton Leeds. Lampard's first win in the Premier League as the new head boss for Everton. Van de Beek got a start in this match. Dele Alli came on as well, I think, later on in the game. But it was the older guys stepping up. Michael Keane and Seamus Coleman getting their first 2 goals for Everton in this one. Rodrigo had 2 chances of his own for Leeds to tie the game up. Unfortunately, hit the crossbar. And Richarlison scored to make it 3-0 later on in the match, just to kind of, confirm the win for them. Like I said, Lampard's first win for Everton. Maybe this swings them back in the right direction. They're still down in 16th place, only safe by 5 points from relegation, which is crazy to say for Everton.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen crazier things this year. At one point, Arsenal was only 5 points safe from relegation.
Yeah.
So we'll see what Lampard can do with the remainder games. He's got, I think, 16 games left, which is a ton of football to play. So we'll see what he can do in the remaining, third of the season, and bring Everton back up to a safer spot.
Yeah. I mean, good for them. I keep saying it. I would hate for Everton and Newcastle to get relegated. So I want them to get out. I mean, they're already out, but I hope they climb up the table a bit. Get really out, like way back up there. But we'll have to see. It is starting to take shape a little bit down there. Newcastle's finally out. Thank goodness.
Yeah, boys.
Thank goodness.
We'll see.
Disaster of the EPL history doesn't happen.
Yeah. We'll see. They should, as long as they keep this form and don't lose confidence and just keep grinding it out, I think they'll both be okay. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, other than Man City and Liverpool, Newcastle the next informed side in the last 5 matches, which is insane.
Yeah.
Seeing how their start to the season was taking place. But when you spend, $100 million like we said they were going to in the transfer window, you better turn results pretty quick.
Yeah.
And, it's the new guys that are kind of doing it for them the last couple of weeks. Trippier scored 2 goals. I think he scored 1 goal midweek and a free kick, and then he scored another one today in their match against Aston Villa to make a 1-0 victory for Newcastle. Like I just said, 3 wins in a row for the Magpies, and 4 points safe to lowly Norwich. Watford just keeps slipping. I mean, when you fire your manager twice in the same season, like 2 separate managers, you really shouldn't. You really shouldn't be saved at all. So
yeah, very tough.
You're definitely destined for relegation. And then Burnley, I have nothing to say about Burnley.
Yeah,
Burnley's Burnley.
Yeah, we've already talked about it. Burnley, I think, is just accepting the fact that they're going down.
Yeah,
they got 3 games in hand,
but they offloaded their best players in the transfer market.
Yeah,
like Chris Wood going from Burnley to Newcastle. Like we said before, they're a team that's right in the relegation battle with them. They're going to give money, but you're competing directly with this one club. Why would you give them any help?
Yeah. I mean, looking who's close to them, like Brentford, Leeds, Everton, Newcastle. It'd be a very unless Norwich, Watford, and Burnley go on a crazy run of form, be very, very tough. Newcastle, Everton, obviously turning to they'll be pretty consistent. Hopefully going forward. Brentford's been, they've struggled a lot. Mm-hmm. They might creep a little bit closer. I think hopefully Leicester figures it out. We'll see.
But those are safe sides. I think Brentford, Leicester are definitely gonna be safe.
You would think. You never know what happens. All of a sudden,
I know.
5 losses come out of nowhere.
I know.
Brentford not too long ago was.
Well, Brentford was shooting for the stars at the beginning of the season. They were in top 10, top 6 even for a little bit, along with Brighton.
Yeah,
to start the season.
Just got to get to that 40 points.
That's what they say. That's the clincher around 40.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be less this season.
Yeah,
big disconnect.
But usually around there, you're safe.
So 40 points, Newcastle. That's 19 more points. Math. How many more wins they need? 7?
6 and a third.
6 and a couple draws.
Yeah, 6 and a third.
They can pull up 6 more wins. They got 3 in a row just now.
Yeah.
Quickly just hit the Newcastle schedule. They got West Ham coming up, tough one. Brentford, it's a gettable match. Brighton, and they got Newcastle versus Chelsea. They got Crystal Palace, Spurs, Wolves. They actually got a tough schedule. Oh my God! And their last, so they played Norwich in their 5th last game, and they go at Liverpool, home to City, at Arsenal, and then Burnley in the last match of the season.
That could
So
be a
they better
juicy
get these.
one.
They better get these 6 wins now.
Yeah.
Or at least 4, and then you can maybe beat up on Norwich and Burnley in the last month of the season to clinch your spot. But oof,
Looking
are we
juicy.
already? Should we already be looking at the end of the table, at the end of the schedule? Sorry, like are we that close yet or no?
Kind of creeps up on you. I mean, we have how many makeup games? So I know there's
True.
a ton of games left, but they're all gonna come in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And someone's gonna have like 3 games in a week, and then before you know it, there's gonna be like 6 games left. And you're like, how'd I get here?
Yeah, there's gonna be
So-
tons of midweek games that aren't part
Yeah,
of the schedule that are just gonna be thrown in left and right.
yeah.
Like I'm already looking down the table now, or down the schedule now. Sorry, and there's matches at the end of February that are already postponed between sides because they have other commitments going on.
Mhm,
Those
yeah.
are they haven't been played yet, and they're already postponed just because we know that something else is coming up, whether it be Champions League matches midweek. Looks like Chelsea and Liverpool. They have 2 matches postponed. The end of February, I think, because there's Sunday matches, and they have Champions League on the Tuesday. So
Mhm.
they've contacted the FA to get those postponed to a later date. So we'll have Champions League coming up, which is always fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Pretty soon at the end of the month. And just to round out the weekend games, I mean, whenever Man City plays, we can just kind of gloss over that one unless it's a top 4 match because they're just going to beat up on Norwich 4-0 or beat up on Burnley 5-0.
Yeah.
Yesterday it was the Raheem Sterling show, hat trick hero for Man City. Phil Foden pitched in with the goal too. 4-0 victory against Norwich, and then Liverpool beat up on Burnley 1-0 earlier this morning, and Wolves came away with a 2-0 victory against Tottenham at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So for them to go in there and beat up on Spurs, coming off obviously the match against Arsenal midweek with that loss, so they kind of want to bounce back a little bit. And like we touched on, Spurs kind of slipping down the table now, 3 losses in a row. They've dropped below the positive goal differential for the first time, I think, this season. They're now a -1. I mean, like when you have Harry Kane and Son in your team, you should be scoring more than 28 goals this season so far.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure like 26 of those are Son. So
Yeah, you're like barely at a goal.
just past a goal a game, really.
Yeah.
Like a 1.2 maybe, something like that.
Yeah.
Again, me and math, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough when you're not scoring, right? You need to count. Usually, Son, Kane, Lucas Moura, all really reliable, but can't always say it's their fault. I mean, if they're not getting service, they're just not getting service. So hopefully Tottenham can bounce back because 8th, not going to bode well with the Tottenham fans.
No, and bringing in Bentancur and Kulusevski from Juventus, I mean, Kulusevski especially, he was an attacking threat. When he did play for Juve, he just always looked to go forward. I don't think he might have had a start today. I'm not totally sure. But I'm sure he'll get his way into the side. I mean, at Juve, he was starting if someone was injured. But I think with Tottenham, he'll probably will be like one of the first guys to get on the team sheet for the starting 11 once he can get himself settled more and get some more training sessions under his belt. Antonio Conte would know him from coaching in Italy with Inter last season. So he's not he's not an unknown player. He obviously has mindset on him. And Betancourt is more just like he's not a Bergwijn. Sorry, not Bergwijn. He's not a Højbjerg player, like type player, but he's there more for defensive responsibilities, which clearly Tottenham needs right now because Kulusevski on the attacking side, Betancourt on the defensive side. Those could be the 2 guys that kind of swing them in the right direction this year for the second half of the season. But like anything else, like we said with Steven Gerrard and just having more time under your belt, you got to put in the hours, got to put in the minutes all the time, right? And just it can't be just snap your fingers and do what Newcastle has done. Like that was obviously kind of like a one-off with Trippier just having the impact he has so far with Newcastle.
Yeah,
but some players take more time. I mean, I'm still waiting for Timo Werner to show up. and it's been 2 seasons. So
Yeah, that's all patience, right?
oh God, this guy, man, this guy.
He's gonna
Yeah.
turn into just a world class stud. And
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Just give it to Andrew.
He's gonna go to Arsenal and crush it. That's what's gonna
Oh,
happen.
that'd be gross.
Like for sure.
Does Chelsea even play soccer anymore in the Premier League? Like, what the hell is going on? When's their next?
No, they're
game?
done. They're just stuck at how many points they have.
I don't know when they're playing. Oh, there they are. Crystal Palace. Okay. Jesus. February 19th against Palace. So next Saturday.
Yeah.
Is Chelsea's next Premier League game. Because they're one of those sides that haven't missed many games for COVID protocol. So they don't have to play midweek matches, which is good for them. They're sitting on 24 matches played. Also, I'm like, okay, they didn't play yesterday. They didn't play last weekend because it was international break. Like, when did they play? Like, their last game from the Premier League was January. That can't be true. January 23rd. January 23rd was Chelsea's last Premier League match.
Yeah.
Because they've had a national break and they've had FA Cup. And they've had the Champions Cup of Cup champions. And then, postponed yesterday and then next week. So I better not be hearing anything about, fatigue with the side, or I know I just gave them shit about having to travel to Abu Dhabi for this match or this little tournament. They better not be tired. I better not see any injury report. Lukaku's not playing. Mount's not playing. Crystal Palace, they better be guns blazing and put away 6 at Selhurst Park.
Yeah, there you go.
Boom. So yeah, that's one of the games next week. Chelsea Palace on the Saturday. Also on the Saturday, Man City and Tottenham. See if Tottenham can bounce back. See if City keeps rolling. As far as big matches, I mean, Wolves and Leicester City, that's kind of like a derby match in the whole Midlands area. So that's always a good one to tune into. 2 teams going in different directions. United plays against Leeds on the Sunday as well. And then, I mean, if you want to watch Newcastle play just for your own benefit, or if you want to watch me buy a jersey, maybe mid-match, depending on how they do, they're playing the early match against West Ham on Saturday, the 19th of February.
Yeah, it should be good.
That was a little power episode. Just try and crush this one.
We're just blazing through it.
Yeah. My head's like on a swivel right now, scrolling through stuff. Oh yeah, one thing I just want to add real quick. We have not done the low key good, the LKG player of the week in some time. Neil Maupay for Brighton. He's low key good.
Yeah.
He's a good little player. He showed up yesterday for the match against see, I scrolled too far now. I'm gone. Oh God. I'm in September. That's how far back I scrolled. The match against Watford. I mean, again, Watford is Watford. They're clearly slipping, but just another match that he scored the winner. He scored the first goal of the game. They're in the 2-0 victory. And I did a little deep dive on Neil Maupay. He's 25 years old, French player. Played a lot of his early career in France, and then he made his debut in England for Brentford and playing in the Championship Division in 2017. And he was sold to Brentford for 1.6 million pounds from Saint Etienne. And then the last 2 seasons, he's been at Brighton, and he's been, I mean, they're number 9 for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
He's got 8 goals and 21 league appearances this season. And so he scored 33% basically of Brighton's goals all year.
Yeah.
I mean, from one contributor, that's pretty significant stat line. And he scores in almost 40% of the games that he plays in this season.
Yeah.
Doing a little Maupay analytics in my spare time.
No, he's been good. I mean,
yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good player.
Yeah, every time I watch Brighton play, he's always just like hounding defenders and like giving them a hard time, and just his work ethic I think is really good. And he always shows up to play. He's one of those players that I just feel, even if he's having an off day, he's going to put in the work ethic and just make it as good as a game as it possibly can be for him.
I think players like that have work ethic as their main motivator are like
Yeah.
really good players.
Yeah, you can just
They're
rely
hard.
on them.
They're hard to find sometimes.
Yeah.
Like a Gerrard Bowen for West Ham. I think
Your favorite
like
player.
we've hit
Your
our
favorite player.
annual quota of hitting Gerrard Bowen's name at least once a podcast. Him, Maupay, John McGinn from Aston Villa, just like tough, gritty players. Even Phillips from Leeds, who made an impact this European Cup for England. These players are starting to become more valuable and more popular, I think, for clubs. I guess you can put N'Golo Kante into that kind of realm of player who just has a motor on him and just kind of flies all over the pitch. And it's like whenever you need someone to stick a tackle or someone to be there for interception, you can kind of rely on that guy to be there. Maupay, obviously being a striker, he fits the build a little bit differently, but he's still just like a go-getter. He chases down defenders. He puts pressure on the keeper when the ball goes back there. And he can help create mistakes and opportunities just by hustling. And like I look at other players like who just kind of dolly around the pitch sometimes and they don't give their full effort. Like, yeah, maybe their talent can carry them forward just on that merit, like by itself. But when you have someone with this kind of work ethic and like determination, because you're not always guaranteed a spot sometimes.
Right.
Like I think in Maupay's case he is, because like Brighton is obviously a mid-level team. But they just have a good, collection of players that play well together. But if you're, on a side like Man City and you've already signed like your big contract and you've already made it, then you kind of maybe back off a little bit, or maybe like in Pogba's case, we're talking with Man United, or even like Martial or Rashford. Like, yeah, like they're great players and all, but you can see them on the pitch sometimes dogging it a little.
Yeah.
And maybe in the back of their mind, they say, oh, I've already made my contract. Oh, I'm already getting paid $8 million per season or something. Maupay's not making that kind of money.
Yeah.
Gerrard Bowen's not making that kind of money yet. So they kind of have to like always be on the clock, always running, always hustling, always trying to prove themselves. And it shows up, man. It stands out. Like, I don't see these guys making like big moves to huge clubs for anything massive in the future, because they are detrimental. They are, no, not detrimental. They're
Key.
consequential, inconsequential. I don't know.
They're definitely not inconsequential.
No, they're a big word for their team. And
insert big word.
Yeah, insert big word here for their team. So I think they're going to stay and stick around, kind of like what we talked about Declan Rice too, right? Just being such a big part of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's my Maupay rant. I think he's just a good player. He's got dual citizenship. He could play for France or Argentina if he gets called up. He's had some like under 21 and below international matches played for France, but never cracked the the senior team.
Yeah.
25 years old. Benzema on his way out. They got this guy called Mbappe. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see if Maupay can ever get there.
Yeah, just we'll see.
If he does,
he's good. Definitely low key good.
Yep.
Yeah. Low key good. And just like, I mean, I think in Brighton's eyes, he's like high key good, because like he's like all they have really to go forward and to counter for goals all the time. Are we done? Is that a wrap?
I think
so. Yeah.
All right, cool. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, for listening, for watching on YouTube. As always, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Search Footy Phans Podcast. Phans spelled Phans. There's actually a game being played right now I kind of forgot about. Leicester and West Ham. If you're listening live, well, you're not live. If you're listening, it's halftime. And it's 1-1 between West Ham and Leicester on Sunday. All right, as always, we'll tune in next week after all the week's action.
See everyone.
Ciao.